So we're going to welcome Arlan to the Hercules Performance and Physical Therapy Podcast, and we're going to learn a little bit more about you. So,
Awesome.
Arlan, tell me where you started in this fitness journey and what you're doing now.
Oh man, so my fitness journey, I'm actually originally from Sacramento, California, and I actually did not go to school for this to begin with. I actually went to school for mechanical and aerospace engineering to begin with. Went to Arizona State, came back to California to be back near family and friends and everything like that. And then my wife Kate and I decided that we wanted to find a new place to live. It was kind of expensive at that time to be out there. So applying to jobs online and kind of accidentally applied to a job out here when we were trying to kind of stay near California, but right outside of California, like Arizona or maybe Colorado or Oregon or something like that. Accidentally applied to a place out here. Came out here for vacation to see the other side of my family that is actually out here. And while I was out here, the company actually called me. They're like, "Hey, can you come in for an interview?" And I was like, "Well, I only have my board shorts.
Yeah.
I don't really have like attire for an interview." And they're like, "Don't worry about it. Just come on in." And I was like, "Okay." So I came on in, and they were like, "This is what we do. Would you be interested?" Like, "Yeah, definitely." Finished off my vacation, went back to California, and they were like, "Hey, we're offering you the job." I was like, "Oh wow." And we were looking for a year or 2 years to get out, and this is the only one that really presented itself. So we were like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. This is a great opportunity. I know the area roughly. So I came out here, worked for about a year out here in the mechanical and aerospace engineering field. And while I moved out here, I was at my heaviest that I ever was. I was about 270, 275 pounds, not healthy. And I worked out though, like in California and everything. I worked out, just didn't really eat well, really stressed out a lot. So I came out here, brand new scene, changed everything up, went to a local gym around here, and functional fitness, if you will. Lost a lot of weight, dropped down to about 190, 195, lost quite a bit of weight there. And growing up, I was playing soccer. Played a little bit in junior college, and while I was losing weight and being around, the industry, working out with the functional fitness people, I was like, man, I would love to get back into coaching, because that's what I did back in California for little kids for soccer and other sports. So I would love to help people out the way that these people help me and kind of do that stuff. So Katie and I basically just made a change and started doing more research and getting certs, and made the change to go into this fitness industry. So been doing this for, oh my goodness, so we moved out here 2016. I would say probably around early of 2017 is when I made the switch and started taking on group classes and helping people, and then moved over into more solely focused on personal training now. So been doing this for 6 years, almost going on 7 years. So awesome. I'm loving it.
Where are you at now? I know where you're at.
I'm at Sonmade Fitness, working with Whitney Stevenson, who's the owner here. I have my own business within it as well. I'm working here in Jupiter, Florida with Whitney at Sonmade.
Sure. And they work with people in Jupiter, Palm Beach, anyone in this Palm Beach County
Pretty
area.
much, yeah.
Really.
Anywhere who, anyone that can come over here and work one-on-one with me. I have a few people that I work with who see me once in a while, once a week maybe, and then they also have remote programming that I give them that they can do at their home or at a Planet Fitness or an LA Fitness or something like that, where I can still help them, but not always in person like that.
Kind of giving them some direction from afar.
Exactly.
What is your client base that you work with? Who is it? Someone you love working with and have really helped in the past?
Most of the people I work with are general population. Your working professionals right now. I've worked with teenagers, for teens classes and sport specific training. if you will. But most of the people I work with are working professionals. A lot of people that come to me have had some sort of injury, or they're in pain, or they're like, I just don't feel good about myself. So I usually just work with them, and I basically just evaluate what they want, but also like the needs of what's going on. You know, that's why I do like a full like movement assessment and just like kind of a personal assessment of what's happening in their life, and just kind of get to know them. That's my whole spiel, basically, just to talk to them and just really get to know them.
Sure. So you take them through this evaluation, a movement screen, you get to know more about their goals.
Exactly.
You know, what if someone were to come work with you, what does day-to-day look like? How do you deliver the programming to them? How many times a week would they normally see you?
So it just depends. Depends on the availability that they have to see me. What I always like doing is this. I usually like to have a phone call to see if we're a good fit to work together.
Absolutely.
So if I get on the phone, they're like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. I'm like, you know what? I know this coach at this other facility. I think they're going to be a better fit for you. Or if I'm on the phone with them and they go, you know, I just understand where they're coming from and I get to know them a little bit. I go, you know what? I think we're a good fit. I think I can help you. I know I can help you. Let's meet up in person. I want to do a movement screen with you. Basically just to see like what previous injuries that we might have. And then there's a
B is entering into this video here.
Basically to see like range of motion, understand how their body moves without load yet.
Yeah.
That way I don't get them into compromised position, you know, with load, and I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. I have to evaluate, I have to assess what's happening first. Then from that point, I can actually expand and deliver more of a personalized and customized program, both in the sense of just general, you know, functional fitness for them, but also, you know, getting them a lot of times out of pain and getting them a better range of motion for that too. So I usually do that assessment and then kind of write down what we're looking for as far as their wants, their needs, and then usually like to do a minimum of 2 to 3 days a week of workouts, whether it's all of them with me or maybe once with me, and then, you know, the other 2 days on their own, or if it's completely remote, that's fine too. But I usually try to see all my clients at least like once. You know.
Do you find that helps with accountability and helping people
It does.
goals a little better?
It does, and it also allows me to kind of see and evaluate a little bit more than just like, you know, the camera that they set up at their house. Like, oh, I can't see it too much here. It still works though. It still can work. But the amount of detail that I can get from my athlete when they come and see me, and they're like, oh, you know what, this didn't feel right. Can we try this out again? I just had that today actually. One of my athletes came in and they were like, something was funky when I did this. Can we try this out again? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then, oh, let's tweak this. Perfect. And they're like, oh, that doesn't feel weird at all anymore. So I love doing a lot of the in-person stuff like that just to get a full detail and full aspect of everything. But it still can work with remote as long as I see a lot of the video and detail, and if we're in constant contact with each other too. So
how you communicate and how often makes a big difference in this kind of field in general.
A lot of times when they input their numbers into the program, so we use TrueCoach here between myself and Coach Whitney, and when they input their numbers, a lot of times they'll give us details like, oh, you know, this felt good today, or this didn't really feel that great, what happened here. And as long as there's some video feedback with, you know, communication, that I can help out a little bit more that way too.
Yeah. So when you were kind of explaining how your process works, we're gonna let this car pass by here. So when you're explaining how this process works, knowing your background a little bit, we can see there's a lot of testing and testing again, and always kind of a moving target, right? Much as the human being and whatnot. Have you found that you've drawn from some of your past history as an engineer working in more technical fields?
I have, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do you feel like that has helped you in creating these plans that help solve people's health and fitness problems?
Yeah, so a lot of like the form that people have kind of actually helps me with a little bit of evaluating what they're going through and everything. So a lot of my physics background, knowing what like numbers look like, what mechanical levers and everything would work, I can evaluate a little bit and see what's going on, and that definitely has helped me kind of get a little bit more buy-in from them too. And I show them too. Here's the equation. Here's an example of what we're doing, and this is what's actually happening, around this moment or this area, and this might be like a cause of maybe some of the pain that we're feeling right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. So an example is like a hinging motion, like a deadlift, right? If the weight is further away from us, then we're pulling around, the low back, which is not what we want, or even like in the shoulders and a couple other places. So I show them, simple physics. This is what it would look like. It's not, a true one-to-one scale, but this is an example. And they're like, oh wow. So then I go, bring it a little bit closer. Let's try that. And they're like, this actually feels so much better. So I can see that there's a lot more buy-in, and then the trust kind of like falls into place in that too.
If you were going to give someone a piece of health and fitness advice, one, I know that's really tough to narrow down. What would be that one go-to that you tell people, like, look, if this was the one thing you were going to do, this is what you should do?
Ooh, so many things.
Yeah,
there's
I
so
know.
many things I can
load it.
I can say, but what I have found so far, just me being in the industry and then working with so many different people, it's really just consistency of doing something, and consistency of, let's start off small, let's do 1,000 steps, walking, and then the next day let's get another 1,000. Okay, good, I have a good habit of consistency. Let's bring it up a notch. Can I maintain that again? And then just kind of build upon that, and pretty soon you realize, wow, I'm doing a lot more at a consistent basis, and then it just builds and compounds over and over again. I think that's the biggest thing I can give anybody, any piece of advice, is be consistent with something for a while. A lot of people I work with, they come to me and they're like, oh, I want to try and fix this. And I'm like, well, it might be a 3-month ordeal. It might be a 6-month ordeal. But if you're consistent with it, we're going to see some results. And then we need to adjust from there. And a lot of people want the quick fix, but they start to see like, oh, after some time, I'm getting better. So you have to give something a certain amount of time and be consistent with it. That's when you get to see the things that are working. So that would be, I guess, my piece of advice.
Absolutely, and that's a good one, right? You read that book, Atomic Habits?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Right? That's a
Love
great,
that. James
great
Clear.
spot.
Yeah.
James Clear, good stuff in there.
Yes.
With health and fitness, as we know, injury rehab, whatever you want to call it, lives on a spectrum, and
Yes.
the key is consistency over time. We just don't adapt fast, and that's a good thing, but it just means you got to stick with it for a long enough period of time. It will work, especially when you look at exercise and nutrition.
Right.
You do a very good job of it.
Thank you.
I've sent people to you. You've kind of worked with me, vice versa. We work well together because of our similar thoughts on movement quality and importance of structured programming. It's amazing what happens with consistency and some knowledge behind what you give people. Arlan, give us your little shout out to your company name, how to reach out to you, and then kind of where you're working out now. I know we talked about Sonmade earlier. But
well, I'm working out at Sonmade Fitness right now in Jupiter, Florida. It used to be behind Bush Wildlife, and now Bush Wildlife moved a little bit, but we're in an industrial park back here. You guys can get a hold of me on my website or on Instagram. Just look me up, Arlan Carroll. First one usually that pop up on there. Not a lot of people have my name, so it's going to be pretty easy to get a hold of me. Arlan, Arlan, and last name Carroll, Carroll.
And we'll link that into description notes. Yeah, that way you can just click and go check them out.
Instagram, you guys can email me, find me on the website, or even on the Sonmade Fitness website or Instagram. Whitney and I collaborate together, our business partners, so we usually kind of go back and forth and help people out. And a lot of times, and perfect example, sometimes the people I talk to that actually don't fit well with me, I pass on to her, or vice versa back to me. So it's really nice to have someone else to kind of collaborate with
Absolutely.
and help out with too. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Arlan, thank you for your time,
Yeah.
and we'll see you around
Yes.
Jupiter.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Arlan.
Thank you.